Somebody mentioned 2 weeks in the kitchen. It is just this corner, just this very small corner that needs replacing. I don't think it will be 2 weeks worth. So we've not been anywhere today. I've spent the day, I say spent the day making bread. The first part of the dough making starts with me feeding the starter in the morning and getting that active. And then once that's active, and that took about 3 hours, once that was active, I was able then to mix it all in with the flour and the water and the salt. And then you spend time waiting and then stretching and folding, and then doing the first proof, which I did, and then it's been in the fridge. I put it in for its shape, so you shape it and then it goes into the proving basket, and it's been in the fridge now. It's now 9:15. It's been in the fridge a couple of hours, so that's that done, and that will get baked in the morning. I was saying to somebody, to Anita in an email last night, Anita, who emails me from Sweden, and I was saying to her that you're a bit crooked. No, I wasn't saying to her she was a bit crooked. That I always seem to fail at one element of the bread, but it's always a different element. And there's a part of me that's thinking that I'm sort of sabotaging myself. So I make decisions about how I'm going to make it. I'm going to do it like this. I'm definitely going to put it in there. I'm definitely going to heat the oven. I'm definitely not going to heat the oven. And at the last minute, the bread comes out of the fridge, and I think, oh, actually, that will be fine. I can just do that. And that's what happened with the last loaf I made. The last loaf I made didn't really rise very well. It was nice, it was tasty, but it hadn't risen very much. This looks like it's good. It looks like the consistency is good, and I'm determined that I will cook it in the pot, because the pot holds shape. And I can remember somebody, Francis, a very, I'm not going to say very old friend of mine on Facebook, but someone I've known for a long time over the years, has said to me when I was making sourdough during lockdown, that sourdough does this. So you need to hold it together because it wants to spread sideways rather than upwards. So this loaf is going to be fantastic when I cook it tomorrow, because I'm not going to let go of my decisions. That's my decision. I'm not going to let go of. We had a neighbour come for goûter this afternoon, which was nice. It's been wet today. We've had quite a bit of rain. Tomorrow we're expecting, well, Ludo was coming. I'm not sure he's seen the forecast because it doesn't look very good. I think he's planning to cut the hedge. I'd be very surprised if he comes. He's planning to come up. I've just realised we have to get up. He's coming at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, what the fuck? So yeah, I don't reckon that's going to happen. I didn't feel human yesterday. I had a good night's sleep. Felt not brilliant for some of the day, and put that down to the jab in either arm. And by tea time, by about 5 o'clock, I felt fine, and I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, that that's it. That there's not going to be any, because this is now nearly 36 hours since we had the vaccinations. So I'm hopeful that we haven't got any side effects to come. Mark said his arm ached a bit more, one of his arms, but then he'd got arm ache anyway. So somebody said, I don't have a clue why, this is in the comments, but hearing you talk about your life gives me a calm I've never experienced. I think that's really sweet. I can't imagine how I can be calming. But that's really nice. And yeah, what else? Someone else said something about, I felt that I'd gone off track with my talking about evolution and how we've evolved, and are we really as evolved as we think we are? And somebody thought my analogy was brilliant, so thank you. Who was that? Lionel. Thank you, that's really kind. I just thought I'd rambled on comme d'habitude, but obviously not. Now, there's something that came into my head just then as I was talking. and I can't remember it now. Oh, isn't that annoying? It comes into your head, you think, oh, I'll talk about that in a minute, and then it's gone. Uh, Ludo coming to cut the hedge, mentioned that. We've got art in the afternoon. Looking forward to that. I've got to find something to do. I'm going to have to do something other than a Modigliani. I've been doing that for days, for weeks now. I must stop doing that. Yeah, I'm going to pause you whilst I have a think. Marie asked about, is the speed limit adhered to strictly in France? No, is the answer to that. Yeah, the speed limit on the main roads outside of town areas is 90, unless you're going through what in the UK you'd consider a built-up area. So it's 90 kilometres an hour, but we're often overtaken if we're doing 90, and we're sort of trying to hang around about 90, but Mark gets a bit carried away. So do I. I shouldn't really talk about him. We both get a bit carried away sometimes. I haven't driven the car. I've driven it once. I've not driven it since. I really should do. And maybe I'll drive to art tomorrow, depending on if I'm feeling how I feel now, which is good. Maybe I'll drive to art. So no, the speed limit isn't strictly adhered to. The speed limit through villages, the speed limit through our village is, you see, look, I'm just thinking, is it that? Are you sure? This part of the village is 30, part of the village is 50. Towns is 50. If you're out on the open road and you're in a 90 and then you're going and you've got suddenly coming up against houses either side, that becomes 70. And then on the motorways it's 110 in some places, 110 when it's wet or has been wet, and 130 when the conditions are good. So 130 is about 80 miles an hour, so that's a bit faster than in the UK on the auto routes. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, I can't remember what it was that came into my head and went. It's just gone. That's really annoying. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to not bother and tell you. So the kitchen, yeah, is small. The area in the kitchen is really just a small corner of the kitchen. It's a case of taking out three kitchen units, and replacing them and putting a worktop on top and putting in a sink and putting my hob back. That's all. I just got to make sure they do it at the right height, because this one had to be, it was JP who's coming on Sunday. I had to get him to come back and reduce the height because I couldn't. I'm just watching a spider, just a tiny, tiny spider climbing up out of my lampshade, up a web to the ceiling. I had to get JP to come back. I felt really guilty, but he'd put it in, and at that time I'd got a gas hob, and so he'd put it in, and for me to reach to the back of the hob, I was having Mrs. Doubtfire moments. So he had to come back and lower everything so that it came down to, to my height, because I'm short. I'm not even over 5 foot now, I suppose, because as you get older you shrink, and I was never really much over 5 foot when I was younger. So he had to come back and do that. So I have to make sure that I have it fitted so it fits me and not some average size. That's the thing that gets me is in the shops. Now, bearing in mind that most of the French women of my age are my height. They're not tall. I think generations down have become taller as they've been better fed, but women of my age are not tall. And the shelves are like, the stuff, you can't reach stuff on some of the shelves. And I don't understand that form of marketing at all. The people that go shopping, the people that are in your shop are the people you want to sell to, but you're putting it out of reach. It's really irritating. It's quite irritating when I've got things out of reach in my house. But in the shops, you think that they'd think about that, and make it accessible to everybody. That came out of nowhere, didn't it? Why was I was talking about the size of my kitchen? Yeah. So yeah, I've just chucked Marth out. I said to him, when am I going to be able to do my vlog? Because he's been sitting watching telly for ages. So I kicked him out. He's watching, I don't know what, I think he's watching some war crimes documentary. It's not the Nuremberg trials that has been on before, but it's something similar, I think, that he's watching. We were talking today about, the news and watching the news and not watching the news. And I really, really am not watching. And we're talking about how our world has shrunk over the years as we've become, the world has become more accessible via social media, um, and how that impacts on us and how it impacts on our mental health, because it's not good for us to know all about what's going on out there in places that we can do nothing about, in places so far away that we can do nothing about them, and to worry us and make us angry and make us sad and all of that about things that we have no control over is really not good for us. So I am not watching what's going on at the moment. And that's not something that I've normally done. I don't normally put my head in the sand. My head isn't in the sand. I know what's going on, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm not spoon feeding it to myself because I don't need to. I really don't. I also know that there's an inquiry going on into the shambolic treatment of COVID by the government in the UK. I read about that this morning. It's just atrocious. It's just atrocious, but I'm not going to get all political. No, I won't do it. I won't. I'm not gonna. It's not fair. It's not fair. There's me saying I'm avoiding it all, and then I'm going to give it to you. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go away now and hope that you have a peaceful morning or evening or day wherever you are. You'll get this on Thursday, and well, you might do. Depends where you are in the world. Let me think this through. You're ahead of us, aren't you, Australia and New Zealand? So you're already awake and at work. Whilst I'm recording this at 9:30 at night, you're already at work. So you'll get this tomorrow. You'll get this Thursday evening. Will you? I don't know. Let me know. I'm going to publish it at 11 o'clock on Thursday morning. You let me know when you get it. Okay, have a good one, whatever it is that you're having a good one of.